Just wanted to talk, that's all.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Juice Baseball says clickbait, LOL. Totally not clickbait. We have a little bit to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about Ben Rice and the possible interest he's drawing from teams in trade. We're going to talk about Brian Cashman and Aaron Boone's press conference. We're going to go over the final belt standings with the official keeper of the belts, Mr. Frankie Baseball. How you doing here, Frankie?
I'm doing good, Derek. I miss watching the Yankees play. It sucks not watching the ALCS last night and they're not in it. But, life goes on. Still trying to enjoy the postseason. We got the Dodgers and Brewers tied up at 1 here in the third. And I hope this series can extend a little bit because we saw that last night. We saw Toronto fight back, make it a series. Hoping Milwaukee can do the same here and make this interesting.
Yeah, I feel like the Dodgers are inevitable at this point. It's, the way that they've been getting strong pitching. I mean, the way Snell threw the ball, Yamamoto really, we could have used Yamamoto. That one's still like him stiffing us to go to the Dodgers. Still kind of, what's the word? It ruffles my feathers a little bit,
Yes.
Because he's good. He's no joke, and I enjoy watching him pitch. He's got incredible stuff. You know what I was doing, and I just figured, before we get to Cashman and Boone, while we're waiting for some people to join, we got about 93 in the chat. I'll tell you what I do during the offseason, and to me, this is the offseason, even though the playoffs are still going. I watch highlights of old Yankees. Like, there's all these channels where they'll show, Jeter career highlights or A-Rod career highlights or whatever. I've been watching a lot of A-Rod today because he's got that new documentary coming out. Have you seen that? Alex versus A-Rod?
I saw the trailer for that. I was not interested at all. And I got criticized in the comments for saying I'm not interested. I'm like, look, I have my reasons. He sued the team. He embarrassed us in 2013, 14. I'm thankful for 2009, but I'm not interested in an A-Rod just session where he just talks endlessly about himself. Not interested.
I still love watching the guy as a player. I mean, he had such a sweet swing, and especially early on in his career, like pre-roid A-Rod. It's always fun to watch athletic players like pre-roid. Like, go watch 1987 Barry Bonds with the Pirates.
I was thinking that.
And he's like this skinny guy, and it's like, oh man, he is so athletic, so fast.
A normal sized head.
Exactly. And then Sammy Sosa, young Sosa. But yeah, young A-Rod, when he was playing shortstop with the Mariners, and then he goes to Texas, he starts to bulk up a little bit, and obviously he became more of a home run guy, a couple of 50 home run years. But his early seasons with Seattle, I mean, I remember when Orlando Hernandez used to throw him that eephus pitch or try and get him with off-speed stuff, and A-Rod would just cream it. He was not being fooled by that at all. But it's still fun. It's still fun to watch through, old highlights. But who's your go-to? Like, when you're watching old highlights during the offseason, like, who's your guy? Is it Judge? Is it Mattingly? Is it Giambi? Hang on. I'm going to guess. I'm going to take two guesses, and you're going to tell me. So, for pitchers, I'm going to say Mike Messina. And for hitters, I'm going to say, I'm doing the Larry David thing where I'm just kind of like, for hitters, I'm going to say, this is tough. It's tough because you have a good poker face. You have a good poker face. Okay. I've got it. Hideki Matsui.
I think incorrect on both. It's not really.
Hang on. We got a sound for that.
I've never been so wrong in my whole life.
I don't really have. It's actually kind of unfair because I really don't have a player. I more have an era that I watch.
Okay.
So if I'm going to watch old Yankee highlights, I'm going to watch 96, 98, 99, 2000. I will go back and watch that 96 series because that was, I think, the longest. I think since 1923, that was our longest drought. We'll soon overclipse that. But that was our longest drought between teams. And so that's what made that 96 team so memorable, was that no one expected anything of them. Then to come back, the games, I watch a lot. That game 4 comeback against Atlanta when they're down 6 runs and Jim Weirich hits the 3-run home run to tie the game and Wade Boggs with the walk. And then, game 6, the unbelievable celebration there in New York City. That era I watched. And then, 98, you watch the Knobloch Grand Slam. Oh, I'm sorry, the Tino Martinez Grand Slam. Knobloch tied the game there. 99, you watch Chad Curtis's walk-off home run. 2000, the great walk-off single by Luis Soho, excuse me. So many memories. That's the era of Yankees I watched. Not even 09, which I was alive for, but that era before when the Yankees were just dominant and winning games in such unbelievable fashion.
I remember watching the 96 series. It was way past our bedtime. I think my parents didn't care. Like, we didn't like watch the games as a family if it was that late, but my brother had a TV in his closet. I had like a little 13-inch TV, and the Yankees had just gotten blown out in game 1. And then game 2,
Andrew
Maddox
Jones.
shuts them down. And then they're down big in game 3, or I think it's game 3 or game 4. And
Game 4. They're down 6-0.
Game 4. Kenny Rogers on the mound just implodes. And then when Leyritz hits a home run, me and my brother, without saying a word, both of our doors open and we meet in the hallway and do like a high five and just go back. We didn't say anything because we were trying to be quiet. That's an all-time moment. It's an all-time memory. But yeah, all right, let's talk a little bit about modern baseball now. We got about 160 people in the chat. Brian Cashman, press conference today. There's a few things I watch every fall, Frankie, in addition to these highlights, Beetlejuice, Halloween, and it seems the postmortem press conference from Brian Cashman and Aaron frickin' Boone. And how bad is it that I almost never watched that 0-3 Boone home run anymore because I just don't like Boone.
I never do. That was the beginning of the end for this Yankee group, was that home run. That home run set us back.
So first thing we learned, not only has Anthony Volpe had surgery, and he's going to likely miss the beginning of the season, but Carlos Rodon had surgery. We didn't see this coming. And it wasn't because of severe whiplash from his absolute, piss missiles that he was giving up in the ALDS against the Jays. It was to remove bone spurs in his elbow. Now, that's not typically a bad surgery. Like, there's no structural thing. It's basically like they cut you open, they take some stuff out, but it takes a while to heal. So he's not going to be throwing for a couple of months, and that's going to put him behind schedule. And we saw what happened when he was behind schedule 2 years ago. Remember? Do we remember this? Do we remember how bad he was when he was behind schedule his first year with the Yankees?
Oh, yes. He was truly awful. It was not fun there.
Here's what I want from Carlos Rodon this winter. I don't want to see photos of him hanging out on the beach with pina coladas. I want to see him. I don't even care if his arm is wrapped up, running. I want to see him in shape, because if he comes to camp out of shape, he's going to have a bad year. His turnaround with the Yankees began when he decided, you know what? I'm not going to be, an oaf. I'm going to get myself chiseled and become an athlete. And I thought he threw the ball much better last year. And this year, obviously, he was even better than that 118 games. But, elbow doesn't concern me as much as him getting out of shape and then maybe hurting himself because he's out of shape concerns me. How concerned are you, Frankie?
I'm very concerned because, as you point out, he had been pitching better for us here the last few years. Obviously, didn't do well in the ALDS for us. But now I'm just thinking, all right, so we don't have Rodon, we don't have Cole to start the season, and we're probably going to have another injury because that's what we do. This is not, if we're talking about, reasons to be motivated for a 2026 season, the fact that we've already lost 2 pitchers here and could lose more. Like, I'm already deflated. I'm already looking forward to, I can't look forward to 2027 because there's going to be no baseball, but I'm already not, but my excitement level for next season has already dripped. And we haven't even gotten to the return of everyone's favorite shortstop, Anthony Volpe, who it seems like, according to Brian Cashman, is all but guaranteed to return as the starting shortstop.
So here's what I don't get. They're giving him the surgery, but they said that his performance may not have, it wasn't affected by the surgery, right? But then Cashman says, well, when they got in there, the damage was a lot more worse than we thought. So what is it? What is it? Was it bad damage that was affecting his performance, or does he just suck? Because if he just sucks, great. Take care of it. It's the offseason. This is when you do that. This is when you fix that. I'm not feeling great about our shortstop situation headed into next year. I feel like we're going to be stuck with an injured Volpe, like, coming back and trying to get in the swing of things. And, after going with some kind of a stopgap for the first 6 weeks to 8 weeks of the season, Volpe comes back in and struggles. And then we're going to have to deal with that for a few months. So I feel like we're in for another lost season at shortstop. And then, best case scenario, Lombard gets crazy hot, develops crazy fast, and maybe he's knocking at the door, in June or July. And hopefully the Yankees aren't too far out at that point. That's kind of what my Nostraderic spidey sense is telling me right now.
I don't think I've ever rooted for a Yankee minor league prospect more than I'm rooting for George Lombard right now. This man needs to have the most unbelievable next couple of months to get. He needs to have a great spring training. We need this man. We cannot stand and watch another 6-7 months of Anthony Volpe at shortstop. It cannot have. At this point, Derek, it might be crazy. I'd rather have IKF back as our shortstop. I'd rather. There's so many other people, you, me, people in the comment section. There's a lot of people I'd rather have as our shortstop than Volpe. But unfortunately, and yeah, I thought of you the same thing what you said, that, so we don't think his performance has been affected that much. So you're saying, if Cashman said that, so you're saying he just sucks because he was bad before the injury and he was still. So you're just saying he's just. Then why is he our shortstop? And then my favorite quote was, I think Boone was asked like how do you tell fans some question of how do you excite fans about the 2026 season. And I think his first words were, I don't know. And then he went to a BS answer. But like that first 3 words, I don't know, is like the most honest we will ever get from Aaron, from Aaron Boone.
Well, a couple of other things. So Judge is not going to need surgery, apparently. But let me tell you the way the Yankees do business, Frankie. This is my prediction. This is how the Yankees do business. Aaron Judge, all winter we will hear he does not need surgery. He's going to show up in spring training and he's going to be hitting bombs. And it's going to be about March 13th. We're going to be about 12 days from opening day. And we're going to see a little note from Brian Hoke. Aaron Judge scratched from today's game in Winter Haven against the Blue Jays. Or whoever plays, I don't know who plays in Winter. Is Winter Haven a place? I don't know. And then and then we're going to hear Aaron Boone give his little talk after the game, and he's going to say, yeah, he was just feeling a little bit sore. It's just day to day. He's going to sit for 10 days, and then they're going to admit they didn't actually send him to the doctor. They just gave him a Tylenol. And then they're going to say, okay, we're going to send him to the doctor now. They're going to say a complete tear of the UCL. He's done for the season. By the way, this is the worst UCL tear in history. They don't actually have replacement UCLs big enough for Aaron Judge because there are no dead cadavers to pull a UCL from that are 6'7", 290 pounds. And thus, Aaron Judge's career is over. That's kind of where I feel this is headed. Am I overreacting?
No, because we've seen this before. Maybe not to this extent, but that was so familiar. Like the pull him out day to day, he'll be fine, and then it just gets to because they told us that Volpe was fine with that. This team doesn't know how to diagnose. Like if this team was diagnosing JFK after he got shot, they would have said like, he's fine. Yeah, he'll be back tomorrow.
Just put some sunglasses on him, have him give the State of the Union. He'll be okay.
Do weekend of Bernie's thing, you'll be fine.
All right, so that's enough on those guys. Well, let's talk a little bit about Ben Rice. We are seeing that something rare is happening, Frankie, and that is other teams are interested in one of the Yankees' young players. And the reason for this is that Ben Rice was an absolute machine. So I'm going to pull up his baseball savant just to remind people why it is absolutely idiotic to trade this guy. It is absolutely crazy to trade this guy. Okay? And Frankie, I'm going to put you back on screen here just so you can join in on the fun. Actually, I can't get you up there.
Oh,
sorry.
Hello?
Well, we can hear you. Anyway, absolutely amazing metrics across the board. Elite. You can see why teams are interested in him. I would think that teams are going to be more interested in him as a catcher than as a first baseman. I think the Yankees are probably more interested in him as a first baseman, which probably tells you he should be the catcher. But, I mean, I think it would be one of the most idiotic moves that the Yankees could do to trade a young hitter with this much upside. I think he's a 40 home run guy next year. I do. And to even consider trading him at this point would be one of Cashman's all-time blunders. But we're seeing his name come up already. Teams are interested. It's coming from all the major baseball writers, Sherman, Hoax, all these guys. And they're saying that teams want Ben Rice. I can't imagine, unless it's Paul Skeens coming back in the deal, Ben Rice can go nowhere for me.
I agree with you there. The Yankees have to start thinking about the future once Judge, Cole, Stanton, these guys are all, nearing the end. They got to start thinking about who the next face of the Yankees is. And this is someone who can do that. He's an unbelievable hitter this year. He's one of our own. We've developed him well. Like he can absolutely be a star of this team going forward. But I did want to ask you, because you mentioned Skeens, how many players, I agree, I would not trade him at all. But how many players out there would you, like Skeens Otani, but that's not happening. Like, how many people out there like would you legitimately trade for Rice? Because it's not many on my list. It's like I can count on one
Yeah.
hand.
You would need to get, I mean, you would need to get a top tier superstar in their prime. I mean, you would have to get, because this is a guy who is an emerging superstar. Like, this is an emerging big time bat. This is a guy who, I know he only hit 255 this year, but his expected batting average was 299. And he had 26 home runs in 467 at bats. You add on, a little bit of muscle, a little bit more experience in the league. He'll be 27 next year. This is a smart guy who made adjustments. He made adjustments to his launch angle. I could see him hitting next year, assuming he's, not as unlucky as he was earlier this year, and he kind of hits towards his expected batting average. 280, 40-plus home runs. Juan Soto type numbers from 2 years ago. That's the kind of hitter he is. Not going to get on base as much. I mean, he only had a 337 on base percentage. But, I mean, this is an elite hitter, and you can't trade him. And I've talked a little bit about Skeens, but, I mean, it's obviously it's a pipe dream. I mean, I'm going to be leading the charge if it actually becomes a possibility, but I can't see that happening.
The Pirates should fold as a franchise if they actually trade Paul Skeens this year. Like, if you trade him this year when you have, 2-3 years left, then you are saying we have no interest in, like, running an actual baseball team.
Yeah,
you have to keep him. If anything, for the ticket sales, you have to keep him now. And then, when he gets to the last year, then you trade him. But for now, you absolutely have to keep him, which is why, I'd love him to come to the Yankees, but that's not going to happen this year.
Yeah, Michael Puma says Rice will be traded for Andrew McCutchen and a prospect. That's These fans know Cashman too well. All right, so belt standings, Frankie. You are the official keeper of the belt. So we have a champion. His name is Jazz Chisholm. What do you end up with, 11?
11 belts for Jazz. Surprised that he ended up first, especially with the year that Judge had. But Jazz was
and missed a month. This is why we were saying to re-sign the guy, but then he makes a big error in a big spot, and nobody wants to talk about that anymore. But
I'd still re-sign him.
Yeah, I think I would too.
Absolutely. But just going through the rest of the leaderboard here, Jazz has 11. Trent Grisham and Max Fried with 10. Judge with 8.5. Carlos Rodon, Giancarlo Stanton with 8. Ben Rice, 7.5. Cody Bellinger, 6. Will Warren and Cam Schlittler with 4. Jason Dominguez, Clark Schmidt, Austin Wells with 3. 2, JC Escara, Ryan Yarborough, Paul Goldschmidt, David Bednar, Fernando Cruz, and the Voyager spacecraft. And then 1 belt for Cabrera, Carrasco, Volpe. Yes, the Voyager spacecraft had more belts than Anthony Volpe. Stroman, McMahon, Heel, a team belt, and Devin Williams.
And God also got a belt.
Oh, yeah, God got a belt. I think I got a belt once.
Yeah, Frankie got a belt. But, the fact that Voyager 2, the spacecraft, that we only give out after losses that were too bad to watch, that we're thankful that the signal won't get there for decades. Only, I'm just unbelievable. This is only after losses we give this, and it had 2 more. It had 2 belts, and Volpe had 1. It beat Anthony Volpe in belts.
Do you think that like Cashman and Boone are watching this video right now, and they hear that stat and they go, "Oh my gosh, what do we do? We have to move on." Like maybe that's what finally gets to their head that this cannot continue into 2026.
Glass Joe also had a belt. Yeah.
Yes.
Frankie didn't keep track of our parody belts at the end, but they do count in the standings. So
yes,
next year we're gonna keep track.
Year. And I have a feeling next year we're gonna have a lot of parody belts, unfortunately.
Frankie, make room on your mantle, please, for a belt. All right, so we're gonna have some fun now. Yankees Mount Rushmore. Now, you get 4 spots on Mount Rushmore, which is what makes this tough because there's so many great Yankees. And, no Yankees Mount Rushmore can't include Babe Ruth, right? I mean, he's not only a Yankees icon and perhaps the greatest baseball player of all time, but he's an American icon. I mean, he's arguably one of the top 5 most famous people to ever live. So he's on there, okay? But then you've got all these other options. I mean, you have the DiMaggio. You have Lou Gehrig, who was on, an unbelievable track, 493 home runs, over 2,130, straight games played, and then he died, during his career, basically. And he was forced to retire from the disease. You have Mickey Mantle, who was a cultural icon in his own way in the 60s, much more so than just a baseball icon. Everybody knew who Mickey Mantle was. And to this day, everybody knows who Mickey Mantle is, and he's been dead for over 20 years. And then you got guys like Derek Jeter, who in the 90s, you don't win those titles probably without Jeter, the all-time leader in hits in the postseason, 200. He's got 5 rings, and then somebody who I think deserves more consideration because they don't get put on enough of these Mount Rushmore talks, Mariano Rivera. The Yankees probably don't win half of those championships that they've had from 96 onward without Rivera. He was one of those guys, you started talking about him in the 6th inning. Joe Buck would say, now we're only 6 outs from Rivera, right? It was not even like the Yankees, have to get 9 outs or 12 outs to get the lead. A lot of times Rivera would throw 2 innings. It was, we're getting close to having Rivera in the game. That basically meant game over most of the time. Now, he did blow a World Series. He blew this series to the Red Sox. Yeah. But to me, he's got to be in consideration. So, Frankie, go ahead and give me your Mount Rushmore.
Well, I mentioned Babe Ruth. You mentioned Babe Ruth. Yeah, that's number one. Just the quintessential Yankee. I think what it says on his Monument Park plaque, I believe it's a great ball player, a great man, a great American. Like that. I know it sounds kind of corny, but like that's who Babe Ruth. Like he was, as you mentioned, an American icon, one of the most famous people to ever play the game.
Used to eat 12 hot dogs in the middle of the game and still hit a home run.
I miss baseball players like that. I miss the days where you could eat hot dogs, smoke a cigar, and crack a home run. That was baseball to me. So it's Babe Ruth. Second on the list, I got to go Lou Gehrig, the Iron Horse, the captain. Just unbelievable in that time. Ruth and Gehrig were just a fantastic duo. Obviously passed away in tragic circumstances. One of the most famous speeches in American history. Lou Gehrig's speech on Lou Gehrig Day. So yeah, I go with Gehrig there. I think. I'm trying to remember how many MVPs these guys won because it was in a weird. I think Babe and Lou were in a time when the MVP
you could only get
like
one or something. It was like you could only get one in your career or something like that. It was a weird rule.
So that's why Babe's 1927 season where he hit 60 home runs, he was only able to win one because he wasn't able to be eligible that year because he already won 4 years earlier. Nuts. Imagine Judd not being eligible this year because he'd already won 2. It's crazy. So yeah, Ruth, Gehrig. I gotta go. Mickey Mantle, the greatest switch hitter of all time. Just an absolute force. You wonder, as great as he was, you wonder how much better he would have been if he wasn't for all the injuries. How much more amazing he could have been. And yeah, just so many clutch hits. I think still has the World Series home run record. Just absolutely clutch. Great player and great, incredible. A hero to many. In that era. And then I got to go Joe DiMaggio, not just for the hitting streak, not just for all the MVPs, not just for the World Series, but the dude married Marilyn Monroe. And you just got to give respect to that.
And I told you my story about how I bumped into him, right?
That's right.
Coming out of the 95, I'll tell you this for the audience. Coming out of the 95 division series, he had thrown out the first pitch in game 1. And we left about a half an hour early to beat traffic. It was like the 8th inning, Yankees were winning. And, we lived pretty far from the stadium. And my dad worked the next morning. So we tended to be those fans that would leave in the, top of the 8th, bottom of the 8th, something like that. And on the way out, I'm reading my program, I'm looking down or whatever, and I bump right into somebody. And my brothers and my dad were with me, and they both stopped in their tracks. And I just kept going, and I'm like, what's going on? And my brother's like, do you realize? Do you even realize what you just did? You just walked right into Joe fucking DiMaggio. And so that's my brush with greatness of Joe DiMaggio. Closest I'll ever get to greatness.
You've actually had several, one day Derek's had to go through his several brushes with greatness and famous people. It is,
yeah.
Derek's has stories.
I got stories. All right. So, here's my, obviously Babe, he's on mine too. I'm going Mantle. I'm skipping over Gehrig and DiMaggio. I love the guys, obviously amazing, but I don't want to front end Mount Rushmore of Yankees too much. I want to get some guys on there that people have actually seen. So obviously get Babe Ruth, but I'm skipping ahead to Mantle. He was my dad's hero. He was the icon of a generation. His rookie card still sells for millions of dollars. And then I'm going Mariano Rivera. Because those championships do not happen without Rivera. And the fact that he was the only unanimous Hall of Fame selection ever means something to me, right? That's something special. Tells you how important he was. And the fact that he was able to dominate for as long as he did, and I got to see the whole thing, he's on my list. And I'm also going Derek Jeter because the man was just a winner. He played at a time when I was in my formative years, and maybe I'm a little bit biased about that, but everybody gets their own personal Mount Rushmore. That's why this is fun. I know people are going to attack me. How could you not put Joe DiMaggio and Lou Gehrig? You idiot. This is our own personal thing. I saw somebody who had like Willie Randolph in theirs, and another guy who had who was it? Darryl Strawberry. I mean, people can have their own. I mean, it's your own personal. They're not going to make a Mount Rushmore of Yankees. Okay, there's not even a room for another president on Mount Rushmore. You're out of room.
Dale Strawberry, like his most famous team wasn't even the Yankees. Like that's.
I know. Well, it was a comment, I mean, half these people, whatever. But all right. So no, thanks to the audience, greatest audience in sports, by the way. All right. Quick word from DraftKings, and then Frankie and I are back to take a couple of voicemails.
October baseball is here. The pressure's on, the lights are brighter, and with DraftKings Sportsbook, you're right there in the middle of every moonshot moment. DraftKings Sportsbook delivers the intensity of October with player props, live in-game betting, and odds that can change as fast as a ball flying over the fence. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get paid out $300 in bonus bets instantly. When I sports bet, this is what I use. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code FOUL. That's code FOUL to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, pass-through of per-wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
It's just a reaction.
It's just a reaction, Frankie. And I got one more reaction. I got to react to this Lids hat, by the way, as I show off my disgusting matted hair right now, which has been underneath this very comfortable Lids hat for the last several hours. We are also brought to you by Lids. Lids is the new home for all things Topps trading cards, including the latest Bowman's Chrome Drop. Text territory to 29017. That is 29017 to receive 20% off your next purchase of any headwear, including this gorgeous classic NY hat that could only be better if it had the 2025 World Series logo, but unfortunately that does not exist. So you got to get it without it, and you can look just like me. And Frankie, you should get one of these for your glorious dome. I wish I had as much hair as you, but anyway, get yourself a Lids hat. Available at any U.S. Lids store. You want to take some voicemails, Frankie? What do you say?
Let's do it, my man.
Hey, Derek. So we heard today that Rodon, Schmidt, who else, Cole won't be available to start next year. So do you think we should re-sign Ryan Yarbrough and have him, start and then move to the bullpen eventually? Because I think he was fine this year. And I think there won't be much interest for him, so I think he'd be a nice pickup.
The rare, reasonable, and probably prophetic correct take. I think Ryan Yarbrough now is coming back for sure because they're going to need depth. I mean, I don't expect him to win 20 games, and I don't think the Yankees would expect him to throw more than 100 innings probably, but I could see him being the Yankees' number 4 starter even out of the gate. I mean, he threw the ball well when he was in there, Frankie. I liked watching him pitch.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that either. So, but again, it's just a shame that we have to deal with these questions already about how deep our rotation is going to be. I just hope that we are able to weather the storm enough to where that we don't have to worry about losing the division again because of the lack of our depth in our rotation. Hopefully they're able to weather the storm here.
Here's Eddie.
Hey, Derek, Eddie Trinidad here. I just wanted to touch base really quick on Ben Rice. Getting rid of Ben Rice, I think, would be a massive mistake for the Yankees unless they get a good haul. Let's say include him in the package to get like a Paul Skeens or somebody like that. But if we get rid of Rice, who are we going to get from free agency? Murakami? Pete Alonso? I mean, these guys strike out an awful lot. Pete Alonso, eventually, in three to 4 years, Pete Alonso is going to become a DH, and the DH spot should be reserved for Judge to extend his career. Pete Alonso, he's a lumbering first baseman, strikes out an awful lot. Murakami's 5 years younger. Murakami also could play third base, but the guy strikes out 150 plus a year, just like Alonso.
Yeah, and in Japan, at a place where, typically you're taught more of a contact approach, right? I'm not on the Murakami train. I know people have been talking about him for years, and Alonso's a fun player. He's a good right-handed bat. I'd take my chances with Rice. I think that he can learn the position. He's young enough to get better. There's no reason you can't get better at first base. It's easy. Tell him, Wash.
It's incredibly hard.
No, I think he'll do fine.
I agree. I don't know enough about the Japanese player, so I'll leave that to you guys. Alonso, I mentioned it to you last week. I would love to have him just because it would piss off Mets fans. But yeah, I roll the dice with Rice and see what you got. This guy's the future of the Yankees. Let's see what he can do.
D's channel says put the hat back on. Yeah, D's
put
nuts.
the hat back on.
Yeah. Here's Milton.
Hey there, Derek. This is Milton from Texas. I haven't called you since loss for the year, but this thing about Ben Rice being traded, my contention is that there's no player that's not expendable. I'm not talking about pitchers. I'm not saying position players. With the only exception probably would be Judge, but everybody else is on the table. I mean, unfortunately, Bellinger, all these players could leave. I heard someplace else, I don't believe that's true, that Mike Trout could come to the Yankees. I don't really.
No, I'm gonna stop you right there. Milton goes on for a little bit with some even worse ideas, but the idea of Mike Trout coming to the Yankees. Now, Mike Trout's so far past his prime. He's gonna be basically Stanton with the legs. You ain't got no legs, Lieutenant Dan. Like that, we're gonna be playing that for Mike Trout if he comes to the Yankees. No, I think Rice is part of the solution, and I think we've talked plenty about that. We got a call here about Volpe.
Well, Volpe got surgery. Nobody's going to want him anyway. So let's see if he recovers. And if he makes it, put him at shortstop. But don't play him all the time. Put Cabrera there. Just give him a little chance and put him at second and see what happens. And if he hits a little bit, maybe we could trade him. Thank you very much.
Appreciate the call. I think he should have to earn the shortstop position back, but I think that they're gonna, once he's healthy, they're just gonna let him roll with it and then make him lose it. You know what I mean?
Much like how he earned the shortstop position back in 2023, he's gonna have to earn it again. I agree, that's what should happen. But no, I think Aaron Boone is just married to this guy, and Cashman, they just think he's the most wonderful player. God, I'm already dreading next season just because of that.
Well, Frankie Baseball, thanks for joining. We'll have you back on throughout the offseason. Only, 5.5 months until we got baseball again. But we do have the Hot Stove League, I guess, is what they call it, heating up in a couple of weeks here after the
Cashman,
World Series. Do something. And we got Brewers, Dodgers right now tied at 1, and we got Blue Jays versus Mariners later tonight. Max Scherzer versus Luis Castillo, at 8:30. So that'll be fun. Tune in for that, and I'll be back probably next week. I think we're going to have Ryan Garcia on from Fireside Yankees to talk a little bit of Bellinger versus Tucker, who makes more sense for the Yankees, and maybe some other topics. Until then, we'll see ya.
If you enjoyed this content, please hit that like button and subscribe. Check out nydesigns.shop for some great merch. Support our sponsors. It helps keep the show going. And you can find us on all major audio platforms, so be sure to subscribe there too. But most importantly, come back again soon. We'll see you next time.